This is Rogers TV.
The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content for free. Visit RogersAnyPlaceTV.com.
Hello everyone, my name's Claire Yulin Beck and I am Miss Newfoundland and Labrador 2019-2020. Thank you all for tuning in to the Rogers TV Canada Day Special. Today we'll be visiting various communities across our country and we'll be starting with Ontario. We'll be visiting Brantford, Ontario, visiting the Sanderson Centre. Next is Cambridge, Ontario with the Butterfly Conservatory and Guelph, Ontario with the Donkey Conservatory.
I'm Patty Berardi from Rogers TV in Brantford, and I'm so excited today to introduce to you one of my favorite spots in Brantford, and that's the Sanderson Centre for Performing Arts. I'm now joined by Glenn Brown, who is the theatre manager. Thanks for being here, Glenn.
Oh, thanks, Patty. It's great to actually be able to be in this space for a change.
And it's such a lovely theatre. It's a jewel. And can you talk a little bit about some of the history of the Sanderson Centre? And I know you've just celebrated your 100th year, and some of those celebrations have unfortunately been canceled due to COVID. But if you can talk about a century of applause as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're just finishing our 100th year. And it started as a vaudeville theater back in 1919, post-war, post-Spanish flu pandemic. And for a long time, it was a vaudeville theater. Then it became a movie theater for nearly 6 decades. And then in the last 30 years, it's been a performing arts center and bringing some of the greatest shows around to Brantford.
One of the things about the Sanderson Center, and I remember my first experience was when it was a movie theater, and then I was fortunate enough to see it transition back to the space that it is now. But also high school graduations, lectures. There's so many wonderful opportunities for people of all ages to enjoy the Sanderson Center.
Yeah, it's really a community gathering place. It's high school graduations, dance recitals, so many reasons for the community to come in here. A lot of fundraisers for local charities as well. And then you add in a lot of the professional programming we do every year.
It's an incredible place to see a concert. The acoustics are tremendous. Can you talk a little bit about what the theater is like and what are some of the features that people can expect to see when they do come to the Sanderson?
One of the things that's always fun is that the theater is a huge surprise to people. We are very modest from the outside. It's just a small storefront, and then you come in, and then you get to this auditorium, and it opens up, and it's this whole. A lot of people say it's a lot like a TARDIS. You know, it's bigger on the inside. There's this huge hall hidden in this building, and yeah, it's an incredible place. The acoustics are amazing. They were designed for a pre-microphone era. So the acoustics are incredible right to the back of the house. And it's a beautifully restored in 1990 and beautiful to sit in and soak in the history of it as you enjoy a great show.
And so you've been with the Sanderson Center for close to 30 years now?
Oh, more. Actually,
More.
I'm the last of the day oneers. I was here the first day that the city took it over from famous players back in 1986.
Wow.
So my jobs have changed a lot over that time, but yeah, I've been able to see that entire evolution from a kind of a fading, rundown movie theater into what it is today.
And can you talk about what it means and what it feels like to walk into that theater as your workspace every day?
It's one of the things I have missed so much in the last few months. We're now down to only being able to come into the theater once a week, and for a while it was none. No access to at all to the theater. So it's a little bit like withdrawal. It used to be every day I would be able to walk through, kind of soak up this place, get inspired for my day, and the same on the way out. Just feeling like I'm so lucky to be here, and yeah, it's hard to give that up.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Now, when things do start to resume and theater is back and concerts are happening, how can people find out more information about the shows at the Sanderson Center?
Well, the best spot is our main website, sandersoncenter.ca. We've got a full calendar. It's got all of our updated shows. We had a lot of shows that happened in the spring that needed to be rescheduled into the fall and into 2021. Those are listed there. And then once we're able to confirm when we're going to be open and what other shows that are booked for our season can be done, then we'll have that all on the website. And for people who've been here before, then you'll also be getting a brochure around that time.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me today, Glenn. And I'm looking forward to when I can step back through the doors of the Sanderson Center.
I can't wait to start hearing people in this building again. It's something I'm looking forward to. Thank you.
Cambridge is Ontario's hidden secret. It's got some beautiful vistas and some incredible trails and a beautiful heritage river running right through it. It's a place where you could come and spend a day or spend a week and find new things to uncover in the province of Ontario right here in our little community of Cambridge. Downtown Galt is filled with heritage buildings. We have done an incredible job in this community of preserving the fabric of our community from our heritage and from those who built our community, from the old mills to the manufacturing outlets around town. It's a beautiful vista of church steeples, of old buildings, of old repurposed factories, and just an incredible downtown to walk through and enjoy the architectural value. There's dining opportunities everywhere, including 2 fantastic 5-star restaurants, the Mill right in downtown and Black Shop out on Hespeler Road. It's a phenomenal community if you want to have a taste of the world, because there's every venue of restaurant and of dining experience that you could possibly want right here in Cambridge. We have a phenomenal 500-seat live professional theater right here in our community. We have some incredible art galleries and art stores around, and we have probably one of the most beautiful trail systems right through Ontario coming through the center of our community.
So the Cambridge Butterfly Conservatory is an educational research center featuring an indoor tropical garden with free-flying butterflies flying alongside various birds and among a variety of tropical plants. We also have a variety of butterflies, moths, and other insects on display within our galleries, and quite a few terrariums with various arthropods from around the world. These include the tarantulas, stick bugs, blue death-fiending beetles, just to name a few. We are located in Cambridge, Ontario, on a 107-acre site, which includes the environmentally sensitive Kossuth Bog. When you first arrive on site, you'll see a large pollinator gardens, which have been consciously planted around the property. These invite you into the facility, where you then can experience the magic of the conservatory. I mean, it's 24 to 28 degrees all year round in here, so it really is that tropical paradise, a place to escape and experience something that you might not see within Cambridge and Kitchener-Waterloo region here. It's always warm and it's very inviting. It's a great place to take photos and really connect with nature. It's peaceful and it's interesting. There's so much to learn and so much to see. And so if you're looking for a relaxing day or an educational experience, you're going to get both here at Cambridge Butterfly Conservatory.
Welcome to the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada. I'm Leslie Bain, the Executive Director. The Donkey Sanctuary of Canada is located south of Guelph in a town called Puslinch. The Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, or the DSC, was founded by Sandra Patey in 1992. Sandra always really loved all animals, but it was in 1992 when she moved to this farm that she discovered her love of donkeys in particular. When Sandra moved to this farm, she discovered that there is not only a lack of information about donkeys, but also misinformation about donkeys, which means that the information that's out there is not correct, which is hurting donkeys. So in 1992, Sandra formed the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada to try to change that. The mission of the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada is twofold. Number one, it's rescue and rehabilitation of donkeys and donkey hybrids like mules and hinnies. And number two, it's education about donkeys, and more specifically, how donkeys are different from horses. Here at the farm, we have a large learning center where you can go in and learn more about donkeys, mules, and hinnies, and it's a really interactive place. Here on site, we have a boutique called the Long Ears Boutique. And this is where you can find anything donkey that you might want. So we've got books, mugs, t-shirts, and a lot of other things. You can access the boutique through our website. One of our donkeys is very curious about what we're doing right now. So this is our donkeys talking to each other. A donkey's bray can be heard for over 60 miles. The reasons donkeys can be heard over 60 miles goes back to when they lived in arid desert lands in North Africa. They needed to be able to hear each other because they travel in small groups. To be able to find each other or to know when there's a resource that they should go to, they need to be able to hear each other. So there's that loud bray as well as those signature long ears. Usually at this time of year, the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada is open to the public so that visitors can come in and learn about donkeys and visit with the donkeys. This year is a little different though. Because of the pandemic, we've had to close our gates not only to visitors, but also to our volunteers. And this has changed the way that we operate quite significantly. We don't know when we're going to be able to open our gates to visitors again, but we are hoping that by the end of the summer, we'll be able to let small groups in again to visit with the donkeys and also to learn more about them. Until then, we have some really great things happening online. So on our website at thedonkeysanctuary.ca and on our social media, so Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find out more about what's happening on the farm through our virtual open days, which you can find online on our website. The donkeys really miss seeing visitors. Yesterday, when I came in to see some of the girls, some of our Jeannettes, they were all surrounding me, hoping that I would just visit with them, touch them, pat them, and groom them. So we really can't wait until we can open our gates again and have our volunteers and visitors with the donkeys.
Next up, we'll be visiting the city of Kitchener, Ontario, the city of London, Ontario, and then the railway city of St. Thomas, Ontario.
Welcome to the city of Kitchener. It's known as part of the Tri-Cities, situated between Waterloo and Cambridge. It is connected by the Grand River, the largest river that is completely within southern Ontario's boundaries.
The Grand River is a tremendous river, and when you canoe on the Grand or kayak on the Grand, you would never know that you're going through 3 metropolises on your route. And it is absolutely beautiful. The fishing is great, and it's really very serene and zen-like to be able to go and float down a river or paddle if you want to. Really something very special that we have in our community.
And summer adventure is just a click away. Bingaman's has something for everyone, and that's just the summer.
Bingaman's has the Gift of Lights, which is a wonderful thing for families to be able to drive through and enjoy all of the lights.
This family-friendly event features over 300 animated and static light displays. There is no shortage of events, attractions, and places to come and visit if you come to Kitchener at any time of the year. But
you have to come in October for Kitchener-Waterloo Oktoberfest, which is Canada's greatest Bavarian festival. Community and the people and just the wide variety of events and things that happen here, and just having a good time with your family and friends.
Kitchener is rich in German heritage and plays host to Oktoberfest, an annual 9-day celebration made up of tradition, cultural events, and pageantry.
1, 2, 3, spank that spigot louder. 1, 2, 3, spank that spigot. 1, 2, 3, spank that spigot.
The kickoff with the keg tapping at Kitchener City Hall. The Prime Minister has been here to tap the keg before. We always get a lot of attention for that. Thanksgiving Day Oktoberfest Parade, which is really a delight for families in Waterloo region to go.
Experience the best of German Christmas at the Chris Kindle Market. This tradition was brought to Waterloo region in 1997.
And it really emulates a German square at Christmas time. And Christmas markets are huge in Germany. And that's one of the things that started this Christkindle Market that's at Kitchener City Hall. It has been growing every year. They have food, crafts, music. It's now expanded to a street festival as well as City Hall. It kind of exploded out of City Hall because it's just so popular. I think that that's something that appeals to all ages as well.
The TD Kitchener Blues Festival is a 4-day concert in downtown Kitchener dedicated to the blues. This event has expanded to 4 stages with over 90 performances.
The music, whether you think you're into blues or not, is actually very uplifting. And it's just a very welcoming environment. The people who run the organization are thrilled to see you and to give you the best possible time.
I really think that you would want to check out a lot of our different multicultural events here and different things for culture, because we're so diverse. So the KW Multicultural Festival every June, and especially like checking out the culture and the diversity of the region.
Spring, summer, fall, or winter, your adventure awaits.
Hi, I'm Natalie Wakbayashi, Director of Culture and Entertainment Tourism with Tourism London, and I've got a few exciting things that you can do and check out in and around London this summer. Many consider London, Ontario a golf destination. While the city's selections of courses can certainly satisfy the most golf enthusiasts, it can also do the same for just the casual golfer that wants to get out and hit the links. Think picturesque settings, breathtaking holes, unique landscapes, challenging courses. London and Middlesex County are host to a variety of courses, and Southwestern Ontario is a hotbed for golf, with over 100 courses located within. London is home to many public courses that give you that private course experience. Whether you're wrapping yourself around Fanshawe Lake or you're out in the country experiencing the views, London, Ontario has something for everyone when it comes to golf. London, Ontario is no stranger to the brewing community. For more than 170 years, Labatt Breweries has been a proud part of London, brewing beer with more than now 60 brands under their portfolio. Along with Labatt's, there are a number of beloved, locally owned small batch brewers dedicated to making exceptional craft beer right here in the Forest City. If beer isn't your thing, London is also home to a number of distilleries. You could visit Black Flag, Union 10, or the brand new Paradigm Spirits. And if wine is more your flavor, there are wineries in and around the London area that are sure to meet your expectations, including Quai de Vin and Rush Creek Wines. Looking for something to do with the whole family? Be sure to check out London's place to play, East Park, with entertainment for everyone. Located minutes from downtown, parking is free, and you pay for what you play. From 18-hole golf course to the driving range, mini golf courses, batting cages, a go-kart track, water slides, a splash pad, a wave pool, and more. Whether you're a kid or a kid at heart, East Park has something for everyone. That's just a few of the fun things you can do in London this summer. Be sure to visit londontourism.ca for more info.
Welcome to St. Thomas, also known as the Railway City. Why are we known as the Railway City? Well, In the late 19th and early 20th century, a total of 26 railways passed through here, and by 1914, over 100 trains per day stopped in St. Thomas, helping build St. Thomas into the city that we have today. But there is one piece of railway-related history that's given St. Thomas international notoriety. Unfortunately, it was for a very tragic event. Jumbo, P.T. Barnum's famous elephant, died here in St. Thomas on September 15, 1885, when he was struck by a locomotive. St. Thomas was the perfect location for a circus because many rail lines converged here. Jumbo and the other animals had finished their performances that night, and as they were being led to their boxcar, a train came down the track. Jumbo was hit and mortally wounded, dying within minutes. But Jumbo's memory lives on a life-size commemorative statue erected in St. Thomas in 1985, the centennial of Jumbo's demise. Jumbo was definitely a very tall boy, and he still is today, commemorated in Railway City's very own Dead Elephant Ale. No elephants were harmed in the making of this beer. And there's one substantial piece of railway history that's recently been converted into something highly unique.
So welcome to my favorite place in St. Thomas, the St. Thomas Elevated Park. It's a repurposed rail line that runs 4 kilometers from here at King Street and Center Street, just half a block from Jumbo the Elephant, all the way across the Kettle Creek Ravine and then into Southwold Township. This is a project that we've been working on since 2013. You're going to experience a woodland trail. You're going to experience public art by local artists. You're going to experience breathtaking views over the Kettle Creek Valley, and beyond that, a 3.5 kilometer trail through farmland and wooded areas. The really unique thing about the St. Thomas Elevated Park is that it's the only one of its kind in Canada, Canada's first and only elevated park. And the second thing that's really exciting about it is not one penny of public dollars went into this. All donated dollars from people, local companies, corporations, and foundations. We're very proud of that.
Another spot for great views is our historic downtown, where you can take a stroll and enjoy our historic buildings and visit our unique shops.
I think my favorite landmark in St. Thomas is the clock tower down at City Hall, which I understand was built in 1898. Many, many years ago, I had the opportunity of touring the clock tower and got as far as the level where the clock faces are. It was a very exciting experience for me. And I think when the time sounds, it's like sending its own welcoming messages to everyone in St. Thomas.
St. Thomas, what a fantastic place to visit. If you're coming to visit St. Thomas, we can tell you the great things that you have nearby. Right here in downtown St. Thomas, historic downtown St. Thomas, is every shop and service one would ever need. Historic buildings, great walking trails, and shopping for everybody's taste. St. Thomas, what a great place to visit.
Whether it's murals, boxcars, the Queso Station, or the Elgin County Railway Museum, they're all great opportunities to learn more about our railway history. Another homage to history can be found in our downtown core, and it's also one of a kind in Canada.
Hi, my name is Shelley Haycock, and welcome to St. Thomas's Veterans Memorial Garden. In 2015, many cities across Canada started to honor those that served in Afghanistan. Local militia and 31 CRs from here also served, so we thought it was time that we did something for them. A committee was formed and it was decided that the World War I monument that was dedicated in 1922 and the World War II Korea Cenotaph that was dedicated in 1957, along with the bronze statue for Afghanistan, all be moved to one designated area. The committee raised $300,000 for this, and it was all done through different levels of government, charitable foundations, businesses, and generous individuals. With the funds, we also purchased through the Vimy Oak Legacy Foundation an oak tree from the acorns of the trees that are grown in Vimy Ridge. In October 2017, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, Elizabeth Dodswell, unveiled the bronze statue at a dedication ceremony here at the site. When this was all done, we still had some members of our community that thought that there were some wars that were missed. So in June 2019, we rose to the call, and we have a stone now with the rest of the wars etched into the stone. So if you're ever here in St. Thomas, please stop by the gardens, take a moment to remember those brave men and women who fought and are still fighting for this great nation today.
St. Thomas has come a long way since we were first settled in 1810. We've seen such stars as Lucille Ball, Babe Ruth, and even Andre the Giant make stopovers here at our Canada Southern Railway Station. We'd love to see you make a stopover here. Come visit us in St. Thomas and enjoy all our railway heritage in our beautiful city.
Continuing in Ontario, we'll be visiting the Tillsonburg Historical Sites Trail, the Waterloo St. Jacobs Market, and the Woodstock Beachville Museum on Baseball.
Settled in 1825, Tillsonburg was built around a forge and sawmill constructed by George Tilson and other immigrants from Enfield, Massachusetts. From its pioneer days of lumber milling, a rolled oatmeal that was shipped worldwide, and its vast tobacco fields, Tillsonburg is now home to nearly 18,000 people. Tillsonburg's heritage and history can be experienced at the Annandale National Historic Site, a community museum and a hub for cultural events.
Annandale National Historic Site is the retirement home of E.D. Tilson, who was the son of Tillsonburg's founder, George Tilson. E.D. and his wife Mary Ann built this home in 1880, a home that they wanted to be modern because it was part of E.D.'s retirement project, which was a model farm. The farmhouse was intended to be the jewel in the crown. It had to be special, had to be unique. And when it came time to decorate the home, they chose to follow a new idea that was out there called the aesthetic art movement. The aesthetic art movement basically said, don't be afraid of color. And whatever could be decorative should be decorative, so that wherever your eye will land, it will land on something of beauty. Today, Annandale House is all that's left of the farm. In 1985, word got out that this house actually may be demolished. And there was an outcry, and a group of citizens banded together to actually save the house. When they saved it back in the early 1980s, they had no idea that it was actually going to become a national historic site. At the time that they saved it, it was important to the community. It was a community heritage site that they were saving. And we welcome not only our citizens, but visitors from around the world to see this amazing property and learn the story of our amazing community. And we're pretty good. We can give you a 2-second introduction or 25-minute introduction. I think the most important thing for people to take away is perhaps maybe the importance of preserving our past. That grassroots, that idea of, holding on to what's important in your community. The world is a click away. You can go everywhere, but we often forget that the most interesting stories, the most important things, are actually right in our own backyard.
Another local historical site that promotes arts within the Tillsonburg area is the Station Arts Centre. This centre is housed within 2 historic train stations.
The cream-colored building, which is the main building for the Station Arts Centre, used to be the Great Western Railway Station. It was built in 1879 and is one of the oldest buildings in Tillsonburg. It was a passenger railway station, and it actually was built in the Gothic Revival style. So the ground plan is in a cross, and then it has other Gothic features like a low brick wall, high gables, and a steep slate roof. The Canadian Pacific Railway Station actually used to be called the Tillsonburg Lake Erie Pacific Railway Station, and it used to be located over on Tilson and Concession Street where the Home Hardware is. It was the main coal line for the communities between Port Burwell and Tillsonburg. Once that started to die down in 1958, the station was boarded up. In the mid-90s, the Tillsonburg District Calf Guild actually outgrew our capacity here at the station, and they put in a request for the town to move the building from that area to over here. So now the CP Station and the Great Western Station are together, and they are the home for the Tillsonburg Station Arts Centre. So between the two of them, we now have space for all of our in-house programs, our galleries, our groups that we have here. Plus we host tourism information, we do rentals, we do many events through music, and different kinds of festivals as well. We have many exhibits all year round. We host emerging, established, local and non-local artists, and we've really started to be able to bring more of that creative aspect into the community, so the arts in the community are starting to grow.
Tillsonburg has a network of trails that wind through the community. The Trans-Canada Trail spans across the town and links up with the scenic loop of the Carroll Trail. This route passes over several bridges along a rocky creek, with views of the lush forest and Tillsonburg's wildlife.
Waterloo, Ontario has one of the most amazing farmers markets in the country. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the St. Jacobs Market and Flea Market on the border of Waterloo, Ontario and St. Jacobs Village hosted thousands of visitors every day from across the country. The patrons would have access to dozens of vendors inside and hundreds of vendors outside with fare from a number of communities from all over Ontario and the surrounding areas. The farmers market has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, but they aren't letting that stop them. Here's market manager Leanne McGray with the details.
It's been a little bit challenging, to say the least. We did have to rejig our entrance and exit protocols so that we could count how many customers are on the property and how many customers go in and out of buildings. We definitely increased our signage protocols to make sure people had some wayfinding signage to get where they needed to be with minimal amount of confusion. We did add a large amount of cleaning protocols to the process we already had in place to make sure we were cleaning high touch points, cleaning washrooms, making sure our staff and vendors were safe on the property.
The farmers market offers a unique experience unlike many others throughout the country. Creative characters, homemade foods, local produce, the market has much to offer. With its close relation to the Mennonite and Amish communities, you can find many foods, supplies, and furniture, all with a traditional taste, feel, and experience.
They're essential, really, a big part of our community. The family who started this market originally does have a Mennonite background, so it's a bit of a history here. The Mennonites are here with their baked goods, with their crafts, with their produce. The farms are quite close by here, so it's a really easy outlet for these local farmers to come and sell their items here because it's not too far. A lot of them do still come in a horse and buggy, which is great to see, but we don't want them to travel for hours and hours. So so this is a nice, easy, convenient commute for them. They're a big part of this market. They're part of what makes us famous, per se. They're part of what makes us unique, and people come to see this lifestyle and to learn about their lifestyle. The village has a Mennonite museum that's really, really interesting. So if you do have the time, going back to what you can do when you get here, it's quite an interesting way to spend an hour and learn about the Mennonite community.
In the morning of September 2nd, 2013, the St. Jacobs Farmers Market main 2-level building was destroyed by a devastating fire. No person, animal, or any other building were harmed from the fire. Support from the community flowed in, helping the market get back on its feet. In just months, the Mercedes Corporation, market managers, and the township of Woolwich erected a temporary replacement structure in December of 2013 from the help of local tradespeople. The temporary structure became a permanent piece of the market and now houses over 50 vendors.
In 1987, we put up a large 2-story building along with the Peddlers Village building, and that unfortunately burned down in 2013, the 2-story original building. So that was rebuilt, and then in 2015, we opened our new 2-story farmers market building, and then we added a third building, so now we were able to increase our capacity for vendors by about 1/3. And then it's been on this site ever since and just gotten bigger and bigger.
The St. Jacobs Farmers Market isn't all about food and produce. It has many different facilities with interesting goods. When the market is in full force, without the effects of COVID-19, it consists of the main 2-level building, which offers locally made foods and goods, the Peddlers Village, which is a flea market that has many vendors with unique twists and quality pieces, the Market Tent, which is a preserved temporary building that houses 50 quality vendors made permanent after the 2013 fire, the Market Road Antiques building that offers over 100 antique and vintage dealers, the Livestock Exchange, where farmers and breeders from all over can see and purchase livestock, and the St. Jacobs Outlet Mall, featuring many of your favorite brands. The market and all its buildings are closely located to hotels and restaurants to allow you to take a break while experiencing the market at its fullest.
Just come with an open mind, come with a big bag of cash to support our vendors. We really are part of the community. Our goal is just to serve this community in the best way we can and provide that entrepreneurial avenue for people who are such savvy business people, and they come up with these great ideas and great products, and we just want to be able to provide that outlet for this community to thrive and have all these great, interesting things here that support our people.
Stay safe this Canada Day. Spend time with your loved ones at home. Once this pandemic is over, get out there, see the country, and experience what Canada has to offer. We will get through this together.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Radu, the curator of Beachville District Museum, and I'm welcoming you into the parlor of our museum. This parlor represents a parlor from the 1880s through to the early 1900s. Beachville District Museum is located along Beachville Road. It's right in between the city of Woodstock and the town of Ingersoll in southwestern Ontario. So our museum has about 15,000 artifacts, and these span all different types of artifacts, from corn binders to historic coins, tea sets to stereoscopes. And we talk a lot about the history of the village of Beachville, as well as the histories of Southwest Oxford Township and Zora Township. We do have some displays of the general stores that were part of the village in the late 1880s. We also talk quite a bit about how the village of Beachville grew. It was at one point a central hub of Oxford County. So one of the central areas that we interpret at the museum is the first recorded game of baseball. So this first recorded game was played on June 4th, 1838, in a pasture that was in the north part of the village. It was a group of local residents who got together to celebrate a militia day, and during that time they were using very rudimentary types of baseball equipment. So they were using cedar bats, they were using wool-bound baseballs, and it was really a sort of community game to celebrate the monarch's birthday. So during this time, the baseball field would have had an extra base as well. And at that time, the bases were actually called byes. So we record all of these parts of the history of that first recorded game through our exhibits, and we also showcase a number of gloves, bats, old chest protectors and face masks, and hometown jerseys as well from communities like Folden's Corners and Ingersoll as well. So it's a great sport history that we tell at this museum and we like to share with the public. So the building was built in 1851 by a gentleman by the name of Philander King. And he was actually someone who'd spent some time in the US before coming back to Canada and setting up a farm in this area. So the house was built in 1851 and then sold later on to the Downing family. Thomas Downing Sr. came here with his family from England, and they started up the first limestone quarries in this area. So Thomas Downing Sr. and his son, John Downing, ran and managed the quarries in Beachville and in Zora Township. And when they purchased this house, it became the home of John Downing, his wife, and children. They lived in this house until 1969, and Mary Downing, the last surviving Downing resident, sold the house to the limestone quarries when the business was sold. So then this house became a storage facility for Beachville lime and Domtar, and it was also used for offices. So for that period of time, it really was a limestone business institution. In 1991, the Beachville District Historical Society was looking for a new building for their collection of artifacts, and they approached the managers of the quarry at that time to purchase this building, this historic building. In 1992, after many renovations, the house was opened as Beachville District Museum. That was in April of 1992. Canada has a lot of small institutions like ours, small museums that have really rich collections of artifacts. And during this time when we're celebrating Canada's birthday, its history and its growth, it's a great opportunity for you to stop in and visit and learn a little bit about the country and its people and its heritage. So please come and visit, enjoy Canadian culture during this time, and make sure you share it with your children, your grandchildren, and your friends. I'm Stephanie Radu. Thank you so much for joining us at Beachville District Museum. You can find out all of the activities that we're hosting at the museum at www.beachvilledistrict.com or on our Facebook page or Twitter page. We hope to see you soon. We know a whole slew of institutions are working on reopening, and we're so excited to see you as a visitor.
Heading to New Brunswick, we'll be visiting the vintage city of King's Landing. We'll be talking to a photographer in Moncton, and we'll be watching an interview with Ron McLean in St. John.
King's Landing getting in tune for the 2020 tourism season. The award-winning destination spot reopened during the first week of June. CEO Mary E. Baruth.
The staff is all here, ready to go. We have a lot of things in place and interesting activities for everyone to participate in this year, and I think it's going to be a wonderful year. Well, I think that the visitors here this year will be excited to know that all of the staff are now in period costume, even our maintenance crew, so they'll be out working away. And there's a lot of different changes, that we've had to put in place.
And those changes include measures to cope with the COVID-19 global pandemic, which creates challenges for those businesses eyeing the future and those reflecting the past.
We've done our best to make our visitors and our staff feel safe through an operational plan that we put in place. We took it from the point of view of the visitor, coming right from the moment they get out of their car, as they walk through the village, and we have different protocols that are now in place to make sure that everyone stays safe, that our staff feels safe. We'll be asking that people mask when they enter a building or when they have to be closer than 6 feet to each other.
Tell me about this Anglican church.
The church is 1890. It was down at King's Clear, and when the Macnaquac Dam went in, they brought the church here.
One of the busier days at King's Landing is Canada Day. Staff member Patricia Graham is here in the Anglican Church.
What will that mean for you to work that day here at King's Landing?
I really love it because we have a lot of young families come in, and you could see the children playing the games and you know, running around, and the parents really feel their children are safe here, and they go on picnics and really get involved in learning about how Canada was formed.
Canada Day may be picnics and celebrations today, but it wasn't always that friendly. When the country was considering confederation, it caused great controversy and fierce debate among the founding provinces.
You go like that, and there's what you get.
Printer Robert Armstrong recalls those struggles.
Half the province was for and half against. It was pretty well even at first. So we had a very vigorous debate on whether we should join or not. Now, we've been promised so many things, and so many times things have not worked out. Are we going to have the autonomy we had once before? Are we going to, what's our number of people are going to be in the Senate? How many people are we going to have as members of Parliament? All these things.
And there are struggles today as cities and towns figure how to host quality events to mark Canada becoming a country. So as music plays on this 300-acre living museum, CEO Baruth is confident King's Landing is a safe, educational, and entertaining place to be on Canada's national holiday.
Well, this year's Canada Day, I think, is going to be a lot different for King's Landing. You know, a lot of area festivals have been canceled because of the large numbers, and so we'll be presenting Canada Day with a gusto, I guess you can say, and focusing on things like Confederation and the argument that surrounded Confederation, as well as the celebrations that surrounded Confederation. So we're hoping that a lot of visitors will come out and see us raise the flag and participate in the activities that are going on that day.
Hi, my name is Maurice Henry and I'm a photographer from Moncton, New Brunswick. As a photographer, and I travel quite a bit, I photograph probably in every province of our country. And of course, every province has its own unique look, feel, mood, nature, and of course its cultures, its people. So we have a very diversified place, and I just love touring this country. It's big, but I just love it, and the opportunities on the visual side of documenting with stills is pretty spectacular in our own country. I'm not one that really likes to follow what the tourist guides tell us, and so I like to go where not too many people go, and it's really amazing that just the little gems that you find that are just spectacular and quite unique to wherever you are. And so all of a sudden you'll see certain architecture, you'll see certain groups of people, you'll see certain types of nature, flowers, etc., etc. And everything from city, urban, to seascapes. You know, old wharfs, old fishing villages, stuff like that. It's not what you see on the highways. Yeah. So if ever you're traveling in this country, don't be afraid to step off or to drive off the big highways. The camera is a social thing, and it's really amazing. I've been to places like from Newfoundland all the way to Vancouver, where I'm just minding my own business, walking around, taking pictures, just experiencing the place, and people invite you. Well, first they say, what are you doing? They start asking questions, you know, and the beauty of it, and for me, my experience has been extremely positive because I do enjoy people, and they start asking you questions, why, what you're doing, and then they start telling you little pieces of their area, where the locals now will take you to different places. I've been invited for lunch, dinner, bars, all kinds of places. It was really amazing, and that's what I find about our country, is the people. It's really amazing how it's welcoming. Yeah, the artistic community in our area and across Canada is very, very vibrant, very diverse, and of course there's all kinds of different things, from music to dance to visual arts to all kinds of theater and everything. But on my end, the visual art side, it's really spectacular when we see all these different approaches to creativity. For an example, especially on the photography side, my side, when I bring people with me on different areas of our province or our country, we can be 10 people standing at the exact same spot, looking at the exact same scene, and we will all come out with something very different and unique to each person photographing. And when I look at the photos and evaluate the photos, I get really, really excited on how the creativity really comes out of people. And I think it's all influenced by the inspiration of our beautiful landscapes. I wish everybody a very happy Canada Day, and hang in there, everybody, stay safe. Things will get better, and still, don't be afraid to go out there, get some exercises, and breathe that nice fresh air that we have right here.
There's quintessential Canadian broadcasters, and then there's Ron MacLean. Ron, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, total honor, Craig.
Traveling coast to coast, Ron, on hometown hockey, what Canada do you see?
Well, you know, as a boy, my father was Air Force, so I was also stationed in various parts of the country, Victoria, Whitehorse, Yukon, twice in Nova Scotia, and then we settled in Alberta. By the way, I do want to show my monkey Band-Aid, David Kelly, the legendary and now late trainer from the Sea Dogs, 40 years of age, when he succumbed to his cancer. And I was going to wear Terry Fox's for Canada Day because he obviously dipped his toe in the water at St. John's, Newfoundland, and ended his run at Thunder Bay, Ontario. But that's what I see. I see history everywhere we go, just great stories of determination, of pride in country, pride in your fellow citizens. So it's been a learning experience at every turn. And my favorite was Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland. So what the hell are we going to talk about there? And we ended up with the Allen Cup champions, the Cataracts, and George Scott, the play-by-play, and Alec Faulkner, first Newfoundlander in the NHL. It's like, okay, stop thinking there's nowhere you're going to find a story about hockey in this country.
Your introduction to the Tragically Hip final concert holds a very special place in Canadian hearts.
Gord Downey is a great example of a guy who sang about Canada endlessly, but not always favorably. He was trying to teach, and I said in the introduction, my favorite song is The Wherewithal. Always loved that guy. He's not on TV anymore, had the wherewithal to get out. Was kind of, again, an idea of a little bit of melancholy mixed in with the beauty of this fantastic drum beat and song. The Hip, you know, they were troubadours that reflected like Blue Rodeo does, and I could go on and on about our musicians. I think we're great at hockey. Our music and our comedy are some of our fortes. Literature, great. But yeah, that was a moment. I was at Copacabana Beach, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Imagine, to introduce the Hip in Kingston, Ontario, and that's kind of how it works in our country. You have to bring us together. It takes a lot of work.
What makes Canada the greatest place in the world to live, Ron?
I would be careful on that one. I've never been a great nationalism advocate. I am grateful for Canada beyond, but I do feel a little bit of inherent good luck being born into it. So, I mean, it is a truly special place for so many reasons. I think the mix of possibilities in our cultures, you know, we have work to do, but still we have that great grounding in our Indigenous, our First Nations history. We have, you know, the chance that came about because the French and English had to work together, and they did. You know, not always easily, and that's just the nature of ethics. You know, there's going to be a tremendous balancing act anytime you're moving from, borders are funny because if they're thin, you know, and then people are embedded on either side and they stay that way. If the border is thick, good, there's some overlap and we start to get along. And that's what Canada has going for it. We're kind of, I think, the last country on earth just about settled. So we had many examples of how not to do it, that we were able to try and get it right. And we, as I say, we always have work to do, but that ethical beauty about our country, natural resources, goes without saying. And like Crocodile Dundee used to say, you don't go back to someone's house because you like the furniture. We may have beautiful landscape and all that, but it takes the people at the house to turn your favor toward it. And that's what Canada's done.
You've brought us all together, Ron. Thanks so much for taking the time today.
Real honor, Craig. Happy Canada Day.
Let's take a break from our Cross Canada tour and enjoy a music video featuring Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield.
Canada. What's with Canada? We got great big cities, but a lot of trees and rocks. Yeah, the winter's cold here. Wear 2 pairs of socks. There's half the world's fresh water to paddle your canoe or camp along the shoreline. It's what we like to do in Canada. Ooh, I'm living in Canada. Float my boat in Canada. Oh, bait my hook in Canada. We tend to do things different. We each have our routine. Some of us eat kubasa, some of us poutine. Oh, j'aime poutine. But we have traditions that help us stick together. Our milk comes in a bag and mosquitoes eat at leisure. Playing in a snowsuit, the true north strong and free. Hockey night on Saturday, there on CBC. Or now on Sportsnet. In Canada. Center ice in Canada. Coming to you coast to coast. He shoots, he scores in Canada. Oh, I'm a player in Canada. We pronounce the letter R like we're pirates on a ship. And we'll drive 2,000 miles for a summer camping trip. We wear sorels in winter while plugging in the car. We eat the holes from donuts. We love Nanaimo bars. And we do possess a word that lubricates our speech. It's pretty good, eh? Pretty good, eh? And it's always within reach in Canada. How's it going in Canada? Out and about in Canada. Oh, drop your G in Canada. Oh, I've slept out in a forest, scared I heard a bear. I've climbed a rocky mountain just because it's there. Crossed the great St. Lawrence, said merci beaucoup. Pardon me, I'm sorry. Excuse me. After you in Canada. Politely in Canada. Line up here in Canada. Oh, you don't butt in Canada. Every city empties on the 24th of May. Queen's birthday. And if we say not bad, we're better than okay. Not bad. There's workman's comp and pogey for when we're shown the door. There's Canadian Tire money in at least one kitchen drawer. And we have a golden rule that runs between these shores. You stay out of my face, I'll stay out of yours. In Canada, get along in Canada. Kiss the cod in Canada. Oh, the friendly giant in Canada. Bonne fête, Canada. Happy Canada Day from the Hadfield family.
we finally reached the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Please enjoy this video of the Signal Hill Tattoo, as well as the singing by Shalaway Youth Choir.
I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You said you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times like these, and now I need you, and now I need you. And you are gone. So I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's just so little beauty, but I know I saw it clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have feelings that will console. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember that I was told. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I thought that you were gone, but now I know you're with me. You are the voice that whispers all I need to hear. I know a please and thank you and a smile will take me far. I know that I am you and you are me and we are one. I know that who I am is numbered in each grain of sand. I know that I've been blessed again and over again. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Yes, I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own
And that concludes our special Canada Day program. Thank you all for tuning into Rogers Television, and now please enjoy the Newfoundland English School District Virtual Choir singing O Canada.
I am a parent.
I am a teacher.
I am a principal. I am a leader.
We are students.
We are students.
We are students.
We are practicing physical distancing.
And although we must stay apart,
we can still be together.
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 It is critically important to stay virtually connected during these unprecedented times.
By staying connected, we can be stronger than ever.
we've decided to connect through singing.
Because music has the power to bring us together.
We are proud Newfoundlanders and Labradorians.
We are proud Canadians.
Let's show our Canadian pride
by singing O Canada together.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Quand on s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants espoirs. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Stay safe, Canada. We're in this together. Soyez là, les uns pour les autres, et on va passer à travers ensemble.
Hi, I'm Jim Parsons, Mayor of Corner Brook. July 1st does double duty here in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's Canada Day, of course, but before that, we knew it as Memorial Day. On July 1st, 1916, 778 young men from Newfoundland left the trenches in Beaumont-Hamel. The next day, only 68 answered roll call. And over the course of the Great War, almost 4,000 young Newfoundlanders were killed, wounded, or captured. This is a great sacrifice for a colony whose population was only half of what it is today. It's fitting that we remember that past sacrifice as we reflect on our lives as Canadians today. 2020 has been an extraordinary year. Once again, we've had the focus on the greater good, our collective health rather than our personal interest. Of course, we've also been confronted with our past social injustice and had to renew our commitment to fairness. And that's what makes us great as a country. We strive to be better for each other. So in a time where divisiveness and self-interest seem everywhere, let's be proud of our drive to stand united. We look after each other. We fix our mistakes. We love our families and we love our neighbors. We are Canadians. Happy Canada Day, everyone.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Were you in Mexico when Noah Bracken died?
You know I was.
I'm not done being taken care of.
After all that, he played God.
We're doing the transplant tonight.
The pod keeps us in stasis by regenerating our cells at the same rate they degrade. Max's heart is never beating again.
Are you telekinetically resetting his heart?
Roswell, New Mexico. Stream the latest season anytime on Showcase On Demand or the Global TV app.
I took this picture of my wife when she was near death, waiting for a liver transplant. And this is her now.
Hello, I'm Lise Breckenridge. A liver transplant saved my life.